All right, guys, back on Southeastern 16 with Max Barr and talking SEC basketball as usual on a Saturday, college football playoff Saturday, Max. But we're talking SEC basketball before we get to the main event here in a little while. We'll do the reaction stream for the playoff games. We'll talk about Texas's win over Clemson. Talk about whatever happens in Tennessee, Ohio State. Max, you making a prediction on Tennessee, Ohio State?
Wait, I just told you before. Yeah, the Vols are going to win. I'm telling you right now.
Max has got the Vols tonight. You heard it here first. But let's talk about the basketball because we're by the way, we're going live. Kentucky's still in progress, but let's just say it's not the Cats' day as it stands right now because Ohio State's up 14 with about 3 minutes to go. So we'll talk about that one as we always do after we get through some other stuff. Once that game goes final, we'll talk more about it. But for now, Max, let's start with the Auburn Tigers, who we did our preview, what was that, 2 days ago. And we're out there talking for 15 minutes like a bunch of goobers about Janai Broome this, Janai Broome that. This guy's not playing in this game. Come on, surely he's not going to play, right? We talked about him being day-to-day and all this, but we're like, come on, man, that's a quick turnaround. Quick turnaround, right? Who cares? Nope. This guy don't care. He's like, are you kidding me, Max Barr and Blake? What are you talking about? He's like, I'm going out there to play because I got to keep up the reputation and the profile for the most dominant team, one of the most dominant teams we've seen in decades. And I know certain people are going to laugh at that, saying, well, they're 11-1. Yes, they are. Their lone loss is by 6 points at Duke. And here they are now. Just a dominant win over Purdue. Don't let the score fool you. 87-69. Auburn was up 72-39 at one point in this game, Max. I don't even know how to respond to that. A completely dominant performance from the best team in the country. There will be no change at the top in our power rankings this week. Spoiler alert. Auburn's still going to be there. Unbelievable that this guy not only played, he comes out there and says, who needs a shoulder? I told you, by the way, Auburn fans would be running to give him the shoulder. I'm not convinced that he wasn't playing with somebody else's shoulder. But nonetheless, 23 points, 11 rebounds in 29 minutes for the best player in America.
Unbelievable. I'm watching the game, holidays, happy holidays, everybody, Merry Christmas. I'm watching the game with my family, and they're like, Max, Auburn basketball, this good? This. I went through the Ken Pom top 10 players. Remember when I did that? Best player in the nation, and it's not even remotely close. It's not even close. Quick quote from Janai after the game. Shout out to Justin Ferguson. Really rely on all of his reporting for Auburn stuff. Broome says, it's a little bit sore, but I was expecting that. We got a couple of days off. I'm just going to rehab and rest it and see how it is. Blake looked good to me. Puts up 23 points, 11 rebounds in 29 minutes, 2 assists, a block, a steal, only 1 turnover, an offensive rating of 146. Ken Pom MVP. Give me a break with this. Come on. I mean, what do we even say about this team? They're steamrolling.
I want somebody to tell me, you know what? Broome was at 51%. Bruce had to make the decision. I'm going to play him if he's better than 50-50. Broome comes out and says, you know what? I was only at 51%. So I just want that to be like the official number we give him and just say he just did this on a 51% shoulder or whatever, right? So, because, I mean, it's ridiculous at this point what this guy's doing. Again, he's the best player in the country. He's the SEC player of the year to this point, and he's playing on the best team. And I know that's going to rub some people the wrong way. We're not knocking anybody else. Not knocking Tennessee. Not knocking anybody else. We would upset Kentucky, but they're not. Unfortunately, they're going to drop a game, and you can't drop a game in this SEC right now without taking a little bit of a hit. But they're just a machine. And I think it was that Rothstein tweeted out, and of course we talked to John Rothstein this summer, and we remember that exact quote he said. One of the strongest non-conference schedules he'd seen. Probably easily the toughest non-conference schedule in Auburn basketball history. And what did they just do? They got Monmouth on the 30th. I'm not overlooking Monmouth, but if they finish this thing out having a 99.9% chance to win against Monmouth, they're going to go through this thing with only 1 loss and quite frankly, some just completely dominant performances against solid to good teams. I mean, it's remarkable that this is the record they're going to come out of this with. It's just nuts. So,
I mean, and there's real time. We can do the transitive property right now. In real time. Auburn beat this Ohio State team 91-53, and it was throw in the white towel bad. It felt bad for the Buckeyes watching that game. I tweeted out some of the numbers. They are now updated. So KenPom has Auburn's offensive efficiency rating at 131.1. That's the highest rating ever by over 2 points. The next highest would be that Frank Kaminsky, Sam Decker, Bronson Koenig, Wisconsin team that beat the Kentucky squad and lost in the championship. I know we still have a lot to go, but you can't say, well, SEC play is going to be a gauntlet. They're going to drop back. They just played one of the hardest non-conference schedules in the country. They played Houston. They played Iowa State, North Carolina, Duke. Some of the best defense. This is not going anywhere. So, I mean, I know it's tough to, people don't want to, overreact, draw too many conclusions. I mean, guys, we're like 45% through the season. I mean, this is an 18-week season. We're on like week 8. I mean, come on. We can start drawing some conclusions. This is one of the best college basketball teams I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, we had people telling us the last couple of weeks, like there were just, hey, they're a little overrated. I'm like, I don't think you can use the overrated term here. You can make the argument and say if you don't think they're the best team in the country, which is fine, because I do think, that there are other teams that feel like they have a great argument for that. But to say they're overrated is simply not true. They are rated quite accurately based on their performance. And like you said, it's just they're a juggernaut. And I mean, we, as much as we talked up Auburn coming into the season into saying, hey, they're going to be one of the best teams in the SEC, like we just could not have envisioned this, I don't think. And even, I mean, come on, if we're being truthful, like I'm sure there's even some Auburn fans who are like, hey, we thought we'd win the SEC, be the best team in the league, but come on, like to this level, these guys are just doing, as we said, just historic things to this point. And like you said, within the context, we have to always add that, I think, right now, where it's like, This isn't just Auburn doing historic things. They're doing it against a brutal schedule. Like they are doing this against a schedule that is just unreal at times when you really think about it. And so that's what makes it even more, I think, just more impressive. There's no other way to put it. And so, I mean, the metrics, the eye test, whatever you want to use, Auburn is simply on another level right now. And, again, I think that you kind of look at this standpoint for them where it's just the only knock we have on them all season is a 6-point loss at Duke, and that's it. And it's like everything else has just been domination at times. So.
And you're not even getting anything from Peay, who, when we in the summer did our predict the starting fives, we had Peay as the starting point guard. I mean, we knew that it was up in the air. We emphasized that. Who was it? There was an ex-Auburn player right before the season was saying that they were going to test out Denver Jones at the point guard. Zep Jasper.
Yeah,
Zep Jasper was saying that they're going to test out Denver Jones at point guard. It's probably not going to be Peay, solely, maybe a little bit of the freshman Pettiford. And we're kind of like, okay, well, that was the big thing last year, right? Was the guard play. It wasn't consistent. So we had those questions coming in, and then just knock your socks off. Everyone's shooting 40% from three, just ridiculous defense. The defense leads the offense. The lobs. How many lobs did they have? Can we get a lob tracker on this team? I mean, my gosh.
Lob tracker. Yeah.
I don't know what to say. Just domination.
They just dominate them. Like that's the best way to put it. They have been remarkable to this point, and like I mentioned, they play Monmouth on December the 30th. They start SEC play at home against Missouri. They're at Texas, at South Carolina, home against Mississippi State, at Georgia. All things considered, that's not the worst 5-game slate to open up the season. Now, again, there's not going to be any gimmies, I think, in SEC play, but, you don't have one of those perceived, I don't know, top 3-4 teams, although Mississippi State, as we'll talk about in a minute, certainly making a march towards that, but that one is, at Auburn. So, I mean, it's just, it's something to look at right now. And I mean, if you look at like the Ken Pom projections, we always say they are what they are, but, their projected SEC records jumped to 15-3 now, I think. I want to say that was, I mean, it's been around that for the past couple weeks, but I just am like, everybody's talking about how the winner's going to lose 5 games or more. I look at this Auburn team right now, and I'm like, I don't see it. Even in a league like this, I just don't see them losing that many games. But long season. But man, like you said, we're 45% way through, and this team has just been unreal. So,
yeah, one last thing, because we'll probably circle back to Auburn. Another quote, Nathan King put this one out. I didn't have to play. This is Janai Broom. I didn't have to play in this game. They didn't want to rush me back. Broom says that once he was medically cleared, the coaching staff put it in his hands over the week to see if he wanted to play or not. So there you go. Yeah. And I'm not sure when it was, but Eric Fawcett, part of the Florida Basketball Hour, put out a clip of Janai Broom like coaching up a play in real time, doing like a quarterback audible. Coach Broom out there now is what they're calling him.
Coach Broom. I like it. Well, hey, if he's Coach Broom, we're putting him in the Coach of the Year conversation then too, because my goodness, he must be pulling the strings just like Bruce Pearl is right now with his Auburn team. So, all right, like you said, we will circle back to Auburn. We always open the floor up to you guys. We'll do that. Look at that, Justin chiming in earlier. Says 46, best Auburn team in his lifetime, not even close. Yeah, I mean, it's something else. So.
Crazy stuff.
By the way, Auburn fans asking, where the heck is Max at?
Oh, I'm at my parents' house in Wilmington.
It's holiday mode, folks.
Go Seahawks.
The Seahawks of UNC Wilmington right now, who, I don't know if UNC Wilmington played an SEC team this year.
They did last year.
They always play SEC teams. That's what I say. I feel like they always play, and we know what happened last year. But, I don't think they've been on the schedule at all. So, all right. We are going to get to Mississippi State, and then we'll get to, I know you guys are waiting for us to talk about Kentucky, and don't worry, we will shortly. And don't worry, Krusty, I saw your comments about me having Kentucky at 1A and all this other stuff. Don't you worry, Krusty. I got some comments for you coming up. No, in all seriousness, let's talk about the group here. Mississippi State goes to Memphis, and Big Baller Brett, by the way, I'm going to need you to keep me updated on the football game too, because I got to do another live stream right after this, subbing in tonight. So keep me updated while I'm trying to keep track of everything. Mississippi State, Max, talk about another impressive performance today. The Bulldogs go on the road and just take it to Memphis. Another game where don't let the scoreline fool you. It wound up being a 13-point game. Mississippi State was up 24-25 with 2 minutes left. Just took it to the Tigers in Memphis. And, man, that's the kind of performance I think you want to see. Because remember, we talked about the past couple games before that game on Tuesday, I think it was, against Central Michigan. We were like, all right, these are kind of uncomfortably close. After the big win over Pitt, they came back with a 7-point win over Prairie View, 3-point win against McNeese, and we're like, and we're like, hey, we got to slip them in the power rankings a little bit because, well, we got nowhere else to go with this, right? Everybody else is winning by big numbers, so we got to drop a little bit, but now – again, they played well on Tuesday, but then, this takes it to another level. One of their best wins of the season, without question. 11-1 right now. Should be 12-1 going into SEC play. They played Bethune-Cookman on the 30th. I thought they looked so good in this game against a Memphis team who, as I have said, I know they dropped a game to Arkansas State there a couple weeks ago, but the only blemish on their resume to that point had been that game against Auburn and Maui. They had wins over UConn, Michigan State. They beat Missouri to start the season. Won at Clemson in overtime a week ago. So I thought this was a great win for Mississippi State.
First things first, rank this team for crying out loud. Rank them. This is a top 25 team. Our poor Hail State fans have been screaming from the rooftops. Why is this team not top 25? I don't know. They probably should be after this. And the reason why it's so impressive, Blake, well, first off, the first 10 minutes of this game, it was 24-10 in favor of Mississippi State. I mean,
touchdown lead.
It came out, punched them in the mouth, didn't stop. And that's big because this team's been starting slow. The Utah game, and they've had a few slow starts, but they've had to, pick things up at halftime. Carlos is
he wants top 15,
forget the top 25. We're going right into the top 15. I'm here for it. But what was so impressive to me about this win was you had the worst game of the year by Josh Hubbard, his worst offensive game. He came into this contest with only 3 turnovers on the whole year. He had 5 in this game. It was a sloppy game for Hubbard. Claudell Harris, kind of, if you want to say he's, the number 2 right now without Kanye Clary, he goes 0 for 7 from 2. Not his best game either. Not a good game from Hubbard. Not a great game from Harris. Doesn't matter this year. Riley Kugel has his best game. Sean Jones gives you 9 and 5. Sean Murphy continues his breakout. Cam Matthews, I don't even need to mention him anymore. Cam Matthews doing what Cam Matthews does. 6 assists, only 1 turnover. I'll be honest. The bully ball committee is this guy he's playing pretty efficient, I will say. But yeah, Blake, I mean, what do you want to say about this team last year, Blake? They lose this game. If Josh Hubbard and whoever, if it was Shaq Moore, whoever was the number 2 guard that game also had a bad game, no shot. You know what we need to do? We need to start talking about Chris Jans as coach of the year also. Okay, he deserves to be in that conversation. Oh, yeah. He lost Tolu Smith, multiple time first teamer, and who cares? Hey, he lost DJ Jeffries. I mean, been there for years. It was a staple of that perimeter defense. Doesn't matter. Chris Jans, right in there, coach of the year combo.
100% now, and that's what we talked about. Like these, when you were picking SEC Coach of the Year, what did we do our awards? Was that 2 weeks ago? Something like that, week and a half ago. We're like, how many different guys could we put in that conversation? I just kept going down the list. It's like, okay, Bruce Pearl's got to be in there because everybody doesn't want to give it to the coach on the top team or whatever, but when they've been that dominant, he's got to be there. But then it's like, who can we throw out at this point? There's not many coaches you can even put out of the Coach of the Year race at this point because it's like everybody has just, had these huge high points to this, at this point. So it's just, we have fun trying to come up with this kind of stuff, but it could be anyone. Really. I mean, realistically, there are so many options you could pick from right now. But speaking of things we got to do, Max, a little late on doing something we got to do around here. So you guys have been waiting on it a little longer than usual. I know. Don't worry. Bet online if you want to bet on any of these games we've talked about that are coming up in SEC play. Or maybe you're like, hey, I'm sitting around. The SEC basketball games are over for the day. I'm going to get in on some action tonight on the college football playoff. Well, Tennessee's down 7-0 from what I can see here. But you can bet any way you want at our friends at Bet Online because they are the world's most trusted betting platform. Your number one source for online betting from the earliest odds to in-game live betting. Bet Online provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. Largest selection of odds on everything from football, the NBA, college basketball, NHL, UFC. Head to Bet Online today. Don't forget to use that promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, for your welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online. The game starts here. All right, more Mississippi State here. Yeah, I mean, again, AP poll is what it is. We always talk about that. I wouldn't, put all your stock in the AP poll at this point. But Mississippi State certainly has the profile now of a team that, like you said, they're a ranked team. They're a top 25 team in the country. If you want to put them higher, 20, 15, whatever, you just see, this was the kind of game to me where you can see what this team can be, whenever they get going, the way they did in this game. And I think it goes back to what we talked about going the season. Jans told us, he's like, hey, we're going to play different, right? Yep. And we bring this up all the time, but they are playing different and they are just excelling in so many different areas right now. And they're a lot of fun to watch, man. And I think that's only going to continue. As I said, as you look at the schedule, now's the time where we can start looking ahead to those SEC schedules. January 4th, they open at home against South Carolina. They're at Vanderbilt after that. Home game against Kentucky. At Auburn on January 14th. And then, the gauntlet is there, basically, starting with that. Any game. Pick a game. The gauntlet begins on January 4th for everybody. But, Mississippi State, good work in the non-conference schedule. They should, again, be 12-1 too heading into SEC play.
Yeah, real quick, wrap up on Mississippi State. Blake, just to compare to last year, offensive efficiency ranked 73rd and defense ranked 22nd. This year, the defense is still right there at 31st, but the offense has gone from in the 70s to 18th Okay, and a big reason of that is tempo. They're in the top 75 right now in the nation in tempo. Mississippi State's in the top 75 in the nation in tempo. Yes, they are. Jan said we're going to play different. He's sticking to it. And Carlos, as he notes right here, stay 2-0 in the SEC with Kentucky coming into Starkville. He thinks hot start for Hail State there. We'll see. But nonetheless, rank this team. Come on.
Rank them. Yeah. Tremendous stuff from Mississippi State. I don't remember where they were in KenPom before this game, but they're up to 18 now after that. So, yeah, just tremendous stuff there from Mississippi State. All right, we're going to keep going because we've got, let's see, I mean, we're going to obviously talk about Kentucky in a second. We still got Florida. Yeah, we got several games to get to.
Yeah.
All right, Max, let's talk about it. The Cats.
Oof.
Everybody's here. Non-Kentucky fans are here for a reason. Kentucky fans are here looking for a reason. Boy, they just got 85-65. Ohio State wins this game. I think we talked about in the preview, one of the things is we didn't know who was going to play for Ohio State. We're like, we don't know if Bradshaw's playing. We don't know if Glover's playing. We have no idea who's going to be out there. Well, Bradshaw plays, 11 points. I thought a nice game from him. Glover plays, scored 9 points. So 20 points off the bench for those two guys. But Bruce Thornton just, goes off 30 points in this game. Of course, some of that was free throw related, 13 to 14. Mobley had 15 in this one. And, I mean, really what it came down to was Kentucky couldn't hit a shot. And credit Ohio State for some of the perimeter defense, certainly. Their defense was locked in from the beginning, you could tell. And Kentucky is not going to win many games, probably going 4-22 from three against these kind of teams. But it wasn't just that. Like, overall, Max, they just missed shots that we've seen them hit time and time again this season. And they just did not hit them in this game. And I thought that was clearly the difference. Ohio State was locked in defensively. Kentucky couldn't hit a shot. And that combination is not good when you have a team like Ohio State, which someone mentioned it in the comment a second ago. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Let's see. Here we go. From Deacon. Almost posted on the Kentucky preview. Had a bad feeling about this game because Ohio State was battle-tested with their backs to the wall. And we did say that. I'm like, hey, we both picked Kentucky, of course. But I'm like, if you expect this to be a 38-point game the way you saw last weekend against Auburn, like that's just not going to happen because you did have a sort of desperate Ohio State team needing this game badly to try to turn their season around given some of those recent performances. And credit to Jake Diebler and his team. They did just that. Kentucky just did not have an answer for this Ohio State team today.
17 of 57 field goal. 29%, under a 30% field goal percentage. I don't know if I've ever watched a team miss more bunnies. I mean, I thought, what was there? Multiple missed dunks? I mean, they had that one possession there with, it was deep in the second half where it was 4 different missed bunnies off of offensive rebounds. Lamont Butler had it. Brandon Garrison had it. Nobody could get it. Just no one could make a shot inside. And Lamont Butler coming off of his best offensive performance. He goes 1 of 7, doesn't make a 3. There was a lid on the rim. Credit Bradshaw, credit Ohio State. I mean, they didn't even have Micah Parrish for a lot of that second half too. Micah Parrish was hurt. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Bad performance here for the Cats. Probably the worst of the year. That's going to happen when you shoot 22 threes and you only make 4 of them. Well, you're probably not winning that game. I'll tell you that right now. I honestly thought that Owe his aggressiveness was great. It just wouldn't come to fruition, right? He would drive, he'd get a foul call, good. Next possession, drives, tries to like a quick pass to Andrew Carr, right through the hands. There's a run out, easy bucket for Ohio State, and then a 3, and there's just a quick 5-0, 7-0 run for Ohio State. It was just a lot of that stuff adding up. I think they'd get it down to 5, get stretched out to 12, get it down to 9, stretch back out. It was just couldn't string together the offense to put together a comeback. Bad result. Not going to sugarcoat it.
No, it was just a bad performance. There's no other way to put it. That's going to I'm curious to see where Kentucky winds up in our power rankings next week. Because,
Yeah.
like we said, there's not a lot of room for error. Not that our power rankings mean anything other than just entertainment, but still, I mean, this is Donovan jumping in. Auburn beats Kentucky by 60 using the transitive property. We've messed up now.
No, but
transitive
I mean,
property.
Hey, I know every game has a a story of its own, but you can't deny it. I mean,
they might have tonight. If Auburn had played well as they did and Kentucky shot that way, they might have. But they might have done that to a lot of teams too, not named Kentucky.
Right.
So, yeah, that's just how good they are. But yeah. So, by the way, Big Baller Brett keeping us updated on the Ohio State's. Talk about Ohio State Day here potentially. They just beat the Cats by 20 in basketball, and they've scored 14 on Tennessee in the first 6 minutes of this college football playoff game. So maybe it's a day for the Buckeyes here against the SEC. So we'll give them one of those every now and then because it's not often. But yeah, so we'll see. And look, to talk about Kentucky here for a second. So I know people have their fun with Kentucky. We talk about them a lot, and obviously they got a great start to the season. Yep. You can't ignore what they did to this point, right? They beat Duke. They beat Gonzaga. Those are pretty good wins. And, that's a nice pair of wins to have on the resume this year. But, there were some things we talked about, that loss at Clemson, that can stand out on a game like that. We're like, okay, yeah, they're going to need to do that a little bit better. And then you have a game like this where it makes you question some more things where it's like, all right, look at that group for Ohio State. And we talked about coming to the game, like the challenges you're going to have with that guard group, who, again, as we said, didn't even include Meechie Johnson in this one. And I think we talked too, we were like, this Ohio State team is better than what we saw against Auburn, right? Like they were a better team than that. They're not going to come out and lose by 38 to everybody. And we had talked about kind of their road to get here. And they hadn't played that well on the road. And that was away from home, I should say. We talked about losing at Texas A&M by 14, blown out at Maryland, right? Blown out against Auburn, neutral court. And so you're thinking, okay, well, a lot of this is Kentucky's favor because they played some of these games before and that kind of stuff. But, man, yeah, just was not. Like, and it's funny because, like, these are the kind of games you can just tell from the start. You're like, uh-oh. Like,
yep.
It's not going to be fun. Maybe Kentucky finds a way to win at something, but no, it's not going to be fun, and it was never fun in this one for Kentucky fans. So,
and one thing that also was a big story of this game was Quez Glover off the bench for Ohio State. We had no clue if he was going to be available or not, and he comes in as a creator off the bench. That's one thing Kentucky doesn't have with Kriisa out. There's no like offensive spark in the backcourt off the bench. There's no changeup. It's Lamont Butler, it's Owe, it's Jackson Robinson bringing the ball up the court, and that's it. That's it. And so You saw that in this game. You saw, Thornton starting to take over, Glover starting to take over on possessions. Without Kriisa, it really takes out an angle of kind of a change of pace, offensive spark. They don't have that right now.
No, and look, like I said, we're looking ahead. They play Brown New Year's Eve, December 31st. The start to their SEC slate, this is where things could get interesting,
wow.
right? Because if you really, again, are looking forward now, because we don't necessarily, we don't really do that, right? Each week when we're doing rankings and all this stuff, like we're going by what we've seen to that point, right? But now it's like, okay, you get a game like this, and you're starting to project ahead, and you're thinking, okay, is this just one game? If you played this 9 times out of 10, do I think Kentucky loses by 20? Probably not. It's probably a little bit closer. Do I think they still lose the game? Yeah, just based on the way it probably plays out, because as we said, the guards kind of dictated it for Ohio State. But if you look ahead, they open at home against Florida, who is just a machine right now. January 4th, Rupp Arena, Florida Gators. At Georgia, at Mississippi State.
Tougher.
Home against Texas A&M.
Not fun.
Home against Alabama.
Less fun.
At Vanderbilt. At Tennessee. Home against Arkansas. That's the first half of Kentucky's SEC schedule or so. Woo. That's not easy, man. So, that's not easy. But, nope, none are easy, but that's not easy. So,
gotta rebound quick.
Gonna have to rebound quick. play Brown coming up on New Year's Eve. I'm sure we'll get some more Super Chats. Thoughts from you guys. Again, if you are just hopping in, or if you're a Kentucky fan jumping in and you want to share your thoughts on your team, you can do that. Super Chats are welcome. We'll make sure we get to your comments. If you guys leave a Super Chat, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button as well. Even if your favorite team, did not perform well, whatever, hit the like button. It helps us out here. You guys know we cover SEC basketball as much as we can. It may be holiday week coming up next week, but we'll still be covering SEC basketball. We got power rankings coming up on Monday, all that good stuff. So maybe a little bracketology towards the end of next week we got coming for you too. So we'll see how this loss for Kentucky could change things, how the win from Mississippi State could change things for them, all that kind of stuff. So we'll look at some of that. But again, guys, we appreciate you hopping in. It just means more tier members too. Got some fun stuff coming up. Yeah, here you go. Jimmy James right here. Only thing I'd like to say is, what the hell was that, Kentucky? Yeah, we're not the only one probably. But I mean, look, and Michael brings up here, I think that's some of the frustrations too. To talk about maybe some of the lack of adjustments those are going to be things that when you get these kind of games, that's going to be talked about. But hey, as Greg notes here too, they have exceeded expectations at this point. And so we'll see. We keep talking about it, but hey, it's one game, it's a long season, but that's not the performance you wanted for sure.
I mean, Pope tried. Threw in some zone, switched it up, went back and forth out of different defenses. Credit the Ohio State guards; they kind of picked it apart.
Yep. War Eagle 17 weighing in. Share my thoughts on my team. We are good. I agree with that. I don't disagree. All right, let's talk about everybody else. People jumping in. We'll talk about the Hogs. Let's talk about the Hogs. Arkansas gets a win over, and we'll get to Florida in a minute too. Florida, by the way, there's some things on that Florida game. I'm just like, come on, this isn't fair with Florida right now. Arkansas 95, North Carolina A&T 67. Arkansas scored 54 in the first half. Jonas Adu, I think, rounding into form, Max, and to me, that's the biggest thing that's standing out right now. Is I think you're just seeing what Jonas Adu can bring to this team, and I was pushing that from the start because I'm like, I get it. There were some fans in Tennessee that were frustrated with Adu towards the end of last season, and all that, but I just think on this particular Arkansas team, I think he makes a huge difference. And we've started to see that over these past several games now that his minutes are getting to where we expected them to be. He's played 22, 25, 26, 27 the last 4 games minutes-wise. And, of course, this was a blowout as the last one was. So, it's a normal game. Probably maybe plays a few more. But I just think he continues to be the person that's standing out for me in terms of they have to have him to be a really good team. And, I mean, you saw the balance here from them today. What they have, I think they had 8 players between 8 and 17 points, I think it wound up being. Take care of your business, did the Hogs in this one.
Trevon Brazile also playing nice, coming into his own. Brazile is actually on a 3-game double-digit point streak, only the second time he's done that in his career. So I don't care who the opponent is. He's playing some of the best offense he's ever played. And you do it without John L. Davis. Right? John L. Davis still nursing that wrist injury now. That's big. We've been talking about that. We've been talking about how John L. Davis keeps grabbing that wrist periodically throughout games. Is the wrist good to go or is it not good to go?
I don't know why this thing just pops up. It's just,
how's the wrist?
It's hilarious. Look, there it goes again. Like the thumbs up just popping up on the screen. Incredible. So,
but that's a situation to monitor here now. I mean, do you keep, are they just sitting him until Tennessee on the 4th, trying to get him back? How is this going to be an issue all year? Because it has been so far. Not sure. So situation to monitor there with the John L. Davis wrist. But Blake, 26 assists for Arkansas. 26 assists. It might have been against the School of the Blind, but they're passing the rock. They're moving the ball around, getting good offense. You
people are too harsh on the Aggies of North Carolina A&T. All right? You're too harsh on them. They're not even close to the worst team an SEC team has played this season, okay? Let's not do this to North Carolina A&T. Greensboro, North Carolina, Max, you're doing this to North Carolinians. What is it? It's one of those two, isn't it?
I don't know.
Come on.
No, I mean, hey, you like to see that out of Adu. You like to see that out of Brazile. It's encouraging. And, I don't know. I hope John L. Davis, I hope he's all right. I hope this is not going to be a thing all year, because I mean, just imagine now Arkansas with a healthy Adu, Brazil playing the best offense of his career, and then you got John L. Davis, who's been in the Final Four, one of the better creators in the country, get his own shot. I mean, that's dangerous. That's dangerous, but he's not healthy right now, right? So,
yeah,
we'll see.
Well, so you've got the John Calipari Oakland revenge game coming up on December 30th for the Hogs.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, and then they start, as we've said many times, they start conference play at Tennessee on January 4th. So, yeah, it's good. Like you said, they're getting these guys back. You're obviously going to have them heading into the grind of the season. You mentioned Davis. Like, let's find out what that looks like. But there was a time there, we said, after that Illinois game, there was some really, we're like, boy, this thing could go south quickly maybe for Arkansas if they don't get their guys back. But now they won 5 in a row. The Michigan one's the most important one of that group, because even the Miami one now, right? Oh, my goodness. Like, we were like, surely Miami's going to turn it around. Nope. They lost to Mount St. Mary's today in overtime at home. So I don't know what's going on.
They didn't have Pack, but...
Well, my goodness. I don't know what's going on with the Hurricanes. But
come on.
Yeah. So, again, trending in the right direction for Arkansas. It's kind of what you expect the Cal teams this time of year, but this one had a lot to do with sort of just health, and having a full roster is going to be important for them, because they were already have a shorter roster than probably most other SEC teams. So that was going to be important. All right, we'll talk more about the Hogs if you guys want to towards the end here. Any super chats, anything like that. Let's talk about the Gators.
Ooh, baby.
99-45. Florida beats North Florida. Are you kidding me? North Florida. Remember the North Florida team who just beat South Carolina to start the season. Florida just beat them by an absurd amount of points. I mean, and I'm going to go ahead and say this up front. Florida plays Stetson on December 29th. Remember what we said about LSU and Stetson? Oh, my goodness. That may not be. I mean, what?
I think I lagged for a little bit there. My bad. We're working on our internet
it's
here.
Holiday mode.
Evan Mia, did you check the lineups?
Oh, I'm checking it right now while you're talking.
Oh, yeah. Well, Florida Basketball Hour, one of the best follows on all of social media, said that the Gators starting 5 is now up to number 2 in Evan Mia. I don't know which one that is, because they do play a few different combos, but also crazy stat here, Blake. Crazy stat. North Florida has scored at least 72 on every opponent this season. They just went under their season low by like 30. This Florida defense is as legit as it gets. They passed the eye test. I know on Ken Palm there's some other. Oh, what is it with the Evan Mia?
A quick note on the North Florida. So I knew this going in. I'm like, wait a second. I was watching this earlier, and of course, eventually I'm like, okay, this isn't really a game to watch the full thing of. But so they didn't have Josh Harris in this game, and so that was a big one, because Harris, I think, is their leading scorer. He hasn't played the last 2 games. So not having him, combine that with playing a Florida team that's a machine, that didn't really help. And I think that's, like you talked about, that points of scoring at least 70 or whatever it was, 72 in every game this season. Not having Harris is one thing when you're playing against UNC Asheville earlier in the week, where they still scored 81. They lost, but they still scored 81. Not having him here, that wasn't good.
Florida's also moved up to number 2 in the nation in offensive rebounding, only behind Texas A&M. So think of it. I mean, you think of that way. You think of when you're playing. Look
at what we've created in this transitive property.
This is not good.
60-point win for Florida against South Carolina, according to Donovan. So
this is not good with the transitive property. But I mean, they do have a tough start with Kentucky, Tennessee, Arkansas. But I mean, you think of Texas A&M when you play them, and you're like, well, they're not going to shoot it that well. They're not going to be too efficient on offense, but gosh, this is going to be such an annoying game. They're just going to offensive rebound the crap out of the ball. It's going to be such a drag. Well, Florida does that also, but they're also one of the most efficient offenses in the nation and have a top 20 defense. I mean, we don't think of them as a Texas A&M style. They're Texas A&M rebounding with the efficiency everywhere else. Oh, man. 12-0.
Yeah, I mean, Florida's sorry, but I can guarantee you Florida's going to move up in the power rankings this week. They're going to jump a certain team. I feel pretty confident about that. So no spoiler alert needed probably on that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to add on Florida. They just demolished North Florida. And all the metrics right now have Florida as one of the best teams in the country, which I think makes sense. One of the top 5 to 7 teams out there. Yeah, so I know they haven't played the strength of schedule that the other teams have. Theirs is kind of in the mid-140s, I think. But sometimes you just got to overlook that and just watch them play. Eye test is important here, Max. You actually got to watch the teams play.
Shocker.
So that's a story for another day, folks. It has nothing to do with any of you. It is a story for another day, I promise. So, all right, let's talk about a couple things here, and then we'll wrap up. Because like I said, I've got. Although this football stream could maybe not be as interesting as I thought if this game keeps going in this direction. All right, Vanderbilt got a win over Austin Peay. The Commodores get a 85-55 win over the Governors. Hey, I mean, that's the thing with Vanderbilt. Like, we talked about them. We've talked about them a lot this season, but I think it's like they're sitting here at 11-1. They should be 12-1. They're going to play New Orleans, who is just not very good. But, like, the fact that they're going to likely go into conference play at 12-1, and remember, like, last year they won 9 games overall, and you just know the ups and downs of that program the last little while, and Mark Byington comes in. He's found a formula that seemingly has worked. Their only blemish on the resume to this point is Drake, who is the only non-SEC team that is unbeaten right now in college basketball is Drake. So, no shame in that for the Commodores. But man, they are very exciting to watch. Like we say that about a lot of SEC teams now, but like offensively, we knew. Remember, I was reading off a PDF about Mark Byington and all this other stuff about his offensive philosophy and all this coming into Vanderbilt. But like you're seeing it play out in front of your eyes now, and they've got the roster to like pull it off here. It's just once you get to SEC play. Some of the things we talked about, Max, right? It's like undersized, those kind of things. But I don't know if they can just keep working this offensive formula. I mean, it's going to be hard to stop them, and that may just be where they get in some high-scoring games. But they're going to be tough to stop. So,
yeah, I mean that's really it. It's just the size. They got everything else. Well, maybe a little bit of 3-point shooting, just a little bit. But I mean, they are so efficient. I mean, they play super fast. They're the 13th fastest tempo in the country right now on offense.
Right back, Max. Right back.
Gotcha. Yep. And so the 13th fastest tempo on offense. They have the number 5 2-point field goal percentage in the country. Number 5. There's only 4 teams in the country more efficient from 2-point range than Vanderbilt right now. I mean, that is impressive. I don't care how undersized, oversized, whatever. They are one of the 5 best 2-point percentage offenses in the country right now. They don't turn the ball over, and they turn you over. Double. They don't turn it over, and then they'll get out and run. We've talked about the efficiency of Tyler Tanner and the incredible freshman numbers he's putting up. We've talked about Devin McLaughlin and how he's being rated right now as one of the best players in the nation. Yes, they're probably going to run into some big front courts in the SEC, and it's probably going to be a little bit rough, but they're also probably going to have some games where they're forcing 15 turnovers. Jason Edwards has 20 points. Tyler Nickel just made 4 threes, and you're going to lose a game at home to Vandy. That's going to happen. So, yeah, I mean, exciting team. I like how you said that. Exciting team. They're fun to watch.
Yep. Top 50 in KenPom now, in the top 50 in the Nets. Yeah, I mean, like all the metrics
that's
are starting to buy. Yeah, I mean, that's they're. And, it's like, and we say all that, and guess what? KenPom has them as like projected to go 6-12 in the league. And like they're a top 50 team, but like that is the nature of. But you said it. You said something there where I think we're going to look back and realize like that's it. They're going to beat some of these teams at home. Like I just think they're gonna wind up shooting the lights out. They're going to win some of these games at home. Road games for everybody will be tough in the league this year. And if you look at Vanderbilt's road schedule, they started LSU, which I think is a very winnable game to start conference play. After that, if you look at the rest of their road slate, at Missouri, at Alabama, at Oklahoma, at Florida, at Tennessee, at Kentucky, at Texas A&M, at Georgia. Like that is a rough road slate. But again, we could probably look at a bunch of other schedules and say the same thing. But it's going to be a matter of how do you hold serve at home, and I think the way they play offensively, lends itself. Already a tough building to play in. Every SEC team knows that. They talk about Memorial Gym. It's difficult. And they've got some mojo back here. That does the program. So we'll see how it plays out for Vanderbilt. All right, Max, the only other game I think we have not touched on, and then we'll turn it over to you guys the rest of the way. Ole Miss beats Queens 80-62. In this one, our guy, Sean Padula, doing his thing once again. We've talked about it, like just what an important pickup he was for this team, and now we're looking at Ole Miss, who we talk about everybody else who were like, all right, we're projecting another win from them. Well, a week from now, they got to play at Memphis, and we're going to get the transitive property working for Ole Miss and Mississippi State. Perfect. That's great. That's what we want. They got that game in Memphis, but wasn't the prettiest the entire way here. Ole Miss eventually pulled away towards the end. But nonetheless, Sean Padula coming up big again. How many times have we said that this season?
Yeah. Well, I'll give him a break on this one. It was Morrell's first game back in a few weeks.
Yeah.
He didn't start. I think I might be wrong, but I think it was Morrell's first game playing and not starting for Ole Miss since I think like 2-3 years. Coming off that lower leg injury, missed 3 games, didn't start, then comes in early. So they were trying to work Morrell, and I'll give him a little pass for the first half, a little bit. You're playing with one of your highest usage guys for the first time in a few games. I'll give him a pass. Padula is probably the most underappreciated transfer in the league right now. I mean, he has just been fantastic. He has got one of the best assist rates, one of the best offensive ratings, one of the best 3-point percentages, you name it, on offense. He's ranking right up there at the top of the SEC right now, Blake.
Yep. And again, we talk about guys who are going to be very important when you start playing these kind of SEC games. We talked about just the loaded guard group for a lot of these teams. And just the styles that are played, up and down. And like the guy who handles the ball the most is going to be one of the most important guys on the floor in these kind of games against SEC competition. So he's tremendous. There's a few SEC guards I would take over him, but like not many right now. Yeah.
Like he is. Look at some of his numbers. Yeah. Unbelievable what Purdue is doing right now.
Yep, I think so. Unreal. But all right. So there was thoughts on those games. We'll stay on for a few more minutes with you guys. If you want to chat about anything, hop on in. I know some Kentucky fans jumping in late, sharing their thoughts on the Cats and the disappointments of that performance against the Buckeyes. Auburn fans still having some fun in the chat, and apparently non-Tennessee football fans are having fun right now too, because the Buckeyes are up 21-0 and in complete control.
Oh my gosh! In
the first quarter of this game. So we'll have to edit out Max's comment earlier about the Vols in this one. I think you picked Ohio State from what I remember, but we'll have to go to the replay on that.
Ask me how many times I've watched college football this year.
Max is locked in. He got time for college football. It's all about the basketball here in the SEC. It's a basketball conference. But anyways, all right. Again, guys, if you want to hop in the final couple minutes here on this particular stream, you can leave a super chat. Make sure we get to it by leaving a super chat. Consider it a Christmas donation to Southeastern 16 for our basketball coverage if you want that. Again, join the It Just Means More tier, $3.99 a month. Lots of members-only stuff coming. We will have an update on our members-only Christmas party. We may be having to delay that to a New Year's party due to some holiday travel schedule and all that, but we'll keep you guys updated a little bit later. We're trying. If not, we'll update you and let you know if we decide to move that tomorrow night. But anyways, the best comment right here.
Yeah.
Leanne says, you know what? I need someone to blame. Did we pick Kentucky to win?
We both did.
Guilty as charged. But listen, it was not the Southeastern 16 kiss of death, all right? Because it was not all three of us. It was just Max and I. So, therefore, I don't think we're fully at blame for this. I think Kentucky just not hitting a shot and just, quite frankly, getting beat by Ohio State. I think Ohio State just played better, outplayed them, and that was the difference in the game. So, yeah, that was it. But, all right, going back to Carter's comment earlier, what else you got, Max? And we can jump into it.
I was just going to say real quick on Kentucky, I might be overlooking it. I haven't had time to dive into the numbers real too quick, but they're starting to
we won't
try. They struggle with that physical guard play, right? Chucky Hepburn, Jaden Zachary for Clemson, some of the Duke guards now, Bruce Thornton, a little bit stockier. I have no clue what I'm trying to say here. I'm just saying I'm noticing a few of the games that Kentucky has struggled in, or it's been close. The other teams had that like physical guard that's able to kind of, I don't know, take a little bit of the pressure off the offense that Owe and Butler are putting on them. They have that physicality to match it. I don't know, just a little angle I'm seeing.
Yeah, I mean, we'll dive more into that because this is where like I'm excited for SEC play because this is where we really can dive into these little tiny things because it's like that's the only thing that's going to separate when we're trying to figure out who's going to win this game. Because I can tell you right now, it's not going to be the number beside their name because there's too much, there's too many teams that are so close together. And once we get into this, like, it's not going to be obvious to pick the number 5 team over the number 22 team. If they're playing each other, like it's not going to be obvious. Even if you're like, oh, this team's ranked 5th, this team's no, like that's just we said. There's not a huge gap with a lot of these teams. So, shout out to Donovan leaving a 99-cent super sticker. I don't even know what a super sticker is, Donovan. So that may be the first one we've ever gotten, but we appreciate it nonetheless. And how about this, Donovan? You leave a super sticker amount for however many points that Auburn scores against Monmouth on December the 30th.
Oh,
how about
boy.
That? You think that's fair? I think that's totally fair. Chat, you can weigh in.
Is King Rice still at Monmouth?
I was looking that up, actually. Isn't he? Is he not? I don't remember.
Yeah, he is. King Rice.
He is? Okay.
Fun fact, King Rice from my hometown.
Yeah.
Went to Binghamton University.
Yeah. So, all right. Daniel asked, we doing a pregame for Mizzou tomorrow? No, we did do a Missouri preview. You can check that out, Daniel. You may have already done it. But, yeah, tomorrow, I don't know what our schedule will be tomorrow. I think Missouri, Illinois, I may potentially hop on and do something. We'll see what all of our schedules are. But TBD on what we're doing tomorrow. But you will get your Monday.
Midday game, right? Early game?
I think that's like you'll get your Monday fix, though, before the Christmas. So we'll do something on Monday with power rankings and all that. We're not going to leave you hanging on power rankings, folks. I know it's a holiday week, but come on. We can't do that to you. We'll keep you updated on all that. Donovan says Auburn's just warming up. He says they're just getting started. Well, that's bad news for everybody else. Because
good Lord. The computer might short circuit if that happens.
What if all the computer metrics say, you know what, we got to shut down. We're overloaded right now.
We don't have
the
capacity for this.
Yeah. So, all right. Let's go to Carter here. Earlier I saw this. Carter, also a member of the Just Being More Tier, Southeastern 16. How many SEC teams make the tournament? Well, I saw some people saying Kentucky's out of the tournament now. I'm not sure I'm in on that yet. But I think, I don't know. That's the $1 million question, right? Oh, Nicholas reminded me of something too. That's the $1 million question. I still think 12 is realistic. I know people are going to say teams are going to fall off. They will, but I keep saying, I'm telling you, you're going to get multiple 8 and 10 teams in probably. I think there's a chance in the right combination to get a 7 and 11 team in, which, remember, has been done before. West Virginia did it. So 10 to 12, anything less would be a huge disappointment. And I just don't.
Counting right now on bracket matrix. 8. We're at 8 with Mississippi State. Texas A&M's 9. Florida is 10. Alabama's 11. Kentucky is 12, 13, 14. Right now, bracket matrix has 14. That's just they take the average of literally all of the bracketology, and they just take the average of it. So 14 is not, I would say like 12. What did you say, 12, Blake?
I would say 12, and just keep in mind there are people telling us like teams are gonna lose games. They're right. There will be teams lose games, but remember what you've done in the out of conference. It still matters. Even when you get in conference play, if you lose games, as long as you don't lose too many games, which I still think. I think 11 is in play. Like, it just depends on who the team is. Like, for example, if Missouri loses 11, do I think they're going to get in? Probably not. Just because the non-conference schedule. Same with Texas. We talk about the strength of schedule. Those things are going to matter. But, like, if it's, I don't know, who else is playing a top-tier schedule that's, although I'm like, okay, we can't say Auburn, they're not losing 11. Like, you know what I mean? So you're starting to see some of that separation. So 10 to 12 would be my projection. And remember, a lot of that is because they've already built in what you have to do to build a strong NCAA tournament resume. Now you just have to kind of keep it even keel the rest of the way. You don't have to win 14 games in conference. You just win 10 in a conference like this, statistically one of the best conferences ever, you're going to be just fine. So, yeah.
And there's going to be no losses that can really drop you. Last year you had LSU, Ole Miss, Georgia, Arkansas, Vandy, and Mizzou all sub 80 of KenPom. Bad analytical losses that really drop you. You lose at South Carolina this year. Okay. Just lost a quad 2 game.
Yep.
It's a worst loss you can possibly have. So
even
if you do drop a few games, not going to move that far in the net.
No, not at all. So, by the way, Hunter bringing it up here. If you look at Torvik, if Mississippi State pulls off 11-7 to 12-6, like they could be a 1 or 2 seed. Like it, and that's the thing, right? If they go 12-6, and let's say those 6 losses are like in a combination to Auburn, Tennessee, Florida, Alabama. Yep. Yes, like probably great chance. So to be a 2 seed or something. So it's ridiculous. It's just absurd. Anyways, all right, one more here, and we're gonna hop off, guys. Oh, yeah, playtime is done. I think Vanderbilt is the SEC Coach of the Year. Not Pope, not Cal, not Pearl. He had to do the same thing that Pope and Cal had to do, start from scratch, but without the 5 stars. I mean, that's the thing. Like, Vanderbilt's not bringing in, not to knock, like, the guys they brought in, but, like, no. Like, they're not getting the pub that a lot of other guys were this offseason. And, so I think that's definitely something. So, but what are you laughing at?
Someone just said I put a comment, tried to spell SEC, but misspelled SEC.
Oh, I see that. What was that? There used to be there was some kind of, was it a news broadcast or something about Auburn was the SEC champions, but instead of SEC, it was SE something. I mean, I'm sure we can say it, but like, I don't want to get us knocked on YouTube or something.
YouTube's
so YouTube will like run, for the, knock us on the whatever. But that's kind of funny. All right, we're going to hop off. I think we, again, touched on everything. If you're just joining in, go back, watch the replay. We touched on all of it. But before we do, and I got to do this quickly because we got to get out in less than 2 minutes. Folks, if you are someone who has decided that you just want to move, that's the best I got right now, then you can do that. And you can do it with our friends at Sanders Logistics, because they are a tremendous group of people. They're your friends and mine. I keep saying, I got to put them on the screen here for you. Sanders Logistics.
They moved me.
Look, Max moved right here. Look at this. I can't say it any better. Max Barr decided this past week, there was such an enthusiasm on the read that I did for Sanders Logistics on one of our shows this week. Max said, I'm out of here. Now, Krusty, listen here, pal. We're about to ban you from the chat. All right? Listen here. All right? You guys get a little too frisky at night here, 8 o'clock on a Saturday night. If you are also getting a little too frisky and decide that you just want to move, then you can do that with Sanders Logistics, formerly known as Ted R. Sanders Moving, a leader among moving companies in Nashville, Tennessee, and the surrounding area. Their team of professional movers are focused on delivering efficient, hassle-free moving, not anything else that you guys are trying to get your minds in the gutter in the chat. They're only focused on delivering efficient, hassle-free moving at an affordable price. Whether you're moving across town or across the country, Sanders Logistics has you covered. Visit them, TedRSandersMoving.com. Look at this. Unreal. All right. We're out of here. Go watch football.
Yep.
Although I can't suggest it at the moment because
possibly
it's not
see
pretty.
You tomorrow. Possibly tomorrow. Possibly.
We will let you guys know. Hit that subscribe button on your way out. Hit the like button as well. We got a football stream coming in a little while. I'll probably be on that too. May not be pretty for Tennessee fans. We'll talk about Texas all that good stuff. But TBD on the Christmas party for members. We'll give you updates on everything. It's holiday season, all this stuff. We appreciate you guys jumping in. 800 plus of you hopped into this chat tonight.
Awesome.
We'll talk about it. SEC basketball power rankings coming on Monday. Again, guys, we appreciate you watching. As always, if we don't talk to you again, if you don't tune in for a live stream, Merry Christmas, and we'll talk to you again here soon at Southeastern 16.